everybody. Welcome to Impossible Live. Welcome back if you're joining us today. And if you're popping in today for the amazing Roshni, you are in for a special treat. One of the reasons why is,
Oh,
besides just adoring the fact that Dee Hoch introduced us, and we'll always give Dee amazing shout outs and extreme
yes,
gratitude, not only
yes.
for fantastic introductions, but for the timing of them. Dee has what I call
Yes.
divine timing. And and
Hmm.
Roshni is an amazing gift from the universe. Besides Roshni being here and about to introduce herself, the one thing I want to let you know is that Roshni picked the amazing song that is inspiring us today. So thank you for reintroducing me
You're
to a
welcome.
nostalgic song that wasn't on my playlist that I had totally forgotten. If you're joining us for the
Right.
first time or you're returning, let us know also where you're coming from, and say hi, whether you're joining us live on a replay. And Roshni, please introduce your beautiful self.
Well, before I do that, I'm again very humbled to be with you, Melanie. I enjoy your company online, and one day in person. I'm hoping I'm speaking that out to the universe, and so I'm very grateful for your invitation to be back with you. And I think we create. When you meet soul aligned people, you create a really, really cool energy. And I really always appreciate it. I'm always uplifted after we speak, which is also a testament to your abilities as well, and your abilities to host guests in a loving and in a productive and helpful way. So thanks again, Melanie Richards, and thanks again, Dee, and shout out to everyone who is joining us today. And thank you for taking the time to pop in and to be with Melanie and I. And my name is Roshni Sharma Fleming. I am the CEO and founder of Still Fire Healing Inc. This is a testament to my nudging from the universe. Actually, it was a push to jump from being an elementary school teacher for 23 years, actually, and start my own business. And this business to me is not just to cultivate relationships, to bring financial independence. It is also a business that's very aligned with my values as I step into another chapter of my life. And I think all of us have gone through transitions where we want to be more aligned. We want to feel that we are moving towards something greater than ourselves. And sometimes you have to really humble yourself in order to see where you need to go. And a lot of my journey has been like that, is to surrender, to humble myself, and to make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I am a human being. But at the end of the day, when you build that arsenal of self-awareness around you, the journey is very supportive. You meet amazing people, and you're able to work with others in a very profound way, whether it's through collaborations like this, whether it's through building workshops. So my journey is unique to my soul's path, and I'm sure everyone's journey. We're all walking together somewhere, and this is how my company was born. I became and am becoming the woman I needed when I didn't have what I needed. And so this is why my company was born, being the one that other people need. And so, what I wanted to ask you, Melanie, I was thinking about how and what we wanted to talk about today. And you and we can talk about so many different things. But I want to start off with a question for you and for everyone. I asked one of my colleagues, Zachary Gandara. He is also a coach of Breakbox Coaching as well. And I wanted to ask you, Why are we so afraid to love ourselves? Why are we afraid to love ourselves? Is it because we don't know how? Is it because we have forgotten? Is it because we are so wounded that we don't even know what love is? What is your thoughts on this?
Hmm. Well, you must have been reading my mind recently and my journal. So, so,
Oh.
so let's start. The part that I learned about how to answer your question is to
Mhm.
give myself permission to explore the lanes of transparency and vulnerability at the same time. If I don't give myself permission to be fully present, to tap into what is going on internally and externally, I'm really grateful because of Yvette Bethel of Organizational Soul. I learned one of my superpowers is environmental awareness. I would never have shared that previously.
Wow.
It's an intuition thing. And I think what happens is in terms of self
Yes.
love, hey Joyce, thanks for popping in to join. Roshni and I were delighted you're here. Is that
Thank you, Joyce.
we don't always make the time for what you have helped me reframe as the nourishment. We spend a lot of time in the lanes, and I
Yes.
can say it from the positive intelligence lane, the mental fitness lane, and from the emotional intelligence lane that the trust is bringing. We spend a lot of time traveling in different lanes, traveling in different roles, um, operating on different planes, different identities. And we spend so much time switching gears that we get lost sometimes in the travels, the transits. I don't know better way to put it, in between the different levels or layers, kind of like you were peeling an onion. And I think in
Yeah.
terms of loving ourselves means we have to really accept ourselves. And Joyce is shouting it out from another perspective. Many of us were taught that other people, especially relatives, were more important than ourselves. We were socialized to serve. Joyce, you're saying this from the
Yes.
lane of they teach us that as entrepreneurs. We learn that in the Girl Scouts. You learn that with platinum rules, with golden rules. And I think that one of the things to really realize in what Roshni's really helped me understand, the cultivating lane, the nourishing lane, we have to feed our spirits the same way we nourish our plants, the same way we take care of our families, and to really value that
Yes.
there's something we're supposed to be here to do to help others with that'll lighten and brighten their world. And learning to love
Yes.
yourself, I believe in that Whitney Houston song, is the greatest love of all. It takes a while because we don't give ourselves permission. And I think that's one thing I'm really grateful for amazing clients for sharing that back. We don't give ourselves permission to fully show up sometimes in the process. Hey, Andrea, how are you? Thank you so much for popping in and congratulations on your grand opening. Uh, Andrea dropped the
Thanks,
link.
Andrea.
Boy, well, we need to discover some of Andrea's amazing products. And Joyce, feel free also to introduce yourself so it pops up in the comments. One of the
Absolutely.
things I think about the love part is that from going on the trust journey, Andrea said it straight up. We need to celebrate, embrace, and hug ourselves. We're, in many cases,
Yes.
really spending a lot of time hugging others. You and I have had some amazingly deeper conversations, and I didn't think it was possible to have a deeper conversation with Roshni. But let me tell you, this amazing woman, whew, she
Thank you.
really has space for us. But I think what happens is we get stuck in whether we're worthy of love, whether we're worthy of our own attention, whether we're, as you would say in the title of the song, and I really appreciated this. The subtitle is I'd Make a Deal with God. And I think in the process, we're really supposed to really feel like we have the potential to love ourselves as much as we can, show up for others, as Joyce would say, whether it's serving, whether it's showing up to support, whether it's reaching. But I believe we're in a time where we need to give ourselves permission to take extra care, extra personal space. And sometimes some will say in a workplace culture, that means we
Yes.
need a mental health day. You need some time or accommodation from HR.
Yes.
If you're the
Sure.
boss, it's time to take a day off. It's time to take some
Yes.
time off. Um, but I just think the giving ourselves the permission is really, really, really important.
Yes. And, when we talk about people, you said a really, such a simple but powerful word, nourishment comes from food, nourishment can come from others, but only you in your core being know exactly the nourishment you need at any given time. And this is why you must cultivate a practice of stillness, of being on your own, of doing the things that fill your cup. And we've heard this metaphor before, Mel, like if you can fill your own cup, you'll be able to fill others. Well, that rings true all the time. You are, if you get to know yourself better and you nourish yourself at the core center of your being, that's love. And you give it to yourself so you can radiate that outwards, whether it's verbally, physically, emotionally, work wise, in whatever service you can do. And how do you nourish yourself? How do you do that? Everybody's path is different. When you start to choose the things that are absolutely meant for you, a lot of it boils down to inner child wantings and needings. And I like what Andrea is saying. You start pampering ourselves, and women should not feel, especially feel guilty of pampering, no matter what that looks like. Today, I made a beautiful salad for myself. That's pampering. I had ingredients, whatever I had at home, I did. And I nourished myself with the green goodness that came into that bowl. And I was happy. And so, pampering, nourishment, and everything that, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Right? And so, nourishment, and you're even smiling when you're doing that. So, be aware of when you start choosing these activities to pamper, to nourish. How does your body respond? What is your frequency? Are you really nourishing yourself because that's what you want? See how your body reacts to it. Maybe that salad's not going to agree with me later. So you don't make that salad again. And this is where people sometimes forget that self-awareness is so, so important to build around yourself. And it morphs sometimes to be stronger. Sometimes self-awareness can be a little weaker depending on how you're feeling that day. But the vibration and the frequency around the choices that you're making is so important, because then your body's like, yeah, give me more of that. Give me more of that. And then also, you said the word intuition. Intuition works in the same way. Everyone has intuition. Everyone has it. We are born with it. We have that instinctual nature. We have that intuitive piece. It's just deadened as we go along because we don't follow those nudges, those whispers, those shimmers. We also, people use the word glimmers. If you just follow one and see what comes out of it, your intuition muscle grows. Self-awareness is a muscle. Pampering is a muscle. And some people pamper with thousands of dollars. Some people pamper with $2. It is totally up to you, as long as you are building awareness around that. And Andrea, I love your comments here. It's a path that will lead you to a happy place. Yes. And your body will remember what that happy place feels like to you inside. So that when there are storms raging around you, that your body remembers where to come back. And this is really, really important.
I love that you
And
started
so I'm
with this
always
question.
wondering, and even me, yeah, it's a powerful question because I I love exploring these topics because we are human beings. We are emotional beings. We are feeling. No matter how much AI is out there, we are still human, and we still need to cultivate humanity within ourselves. How can we be human if we are constantly giving and running ourselves ragged and not remembering and giving ourselves a chance? I had a girlfriend call me from a tourist spot last year, and she was just exasperated. And my son and her son are friends. She says, I'm going home. I don't want to be here anymore. She says, can we reschedule? And I said, absolutely. What's going on? She says, I'm exhausted. My kid's exhausted. He's not listening. And I just want to go home and go to bed. And I said, so then do that. Well, I don't have anyone to look after him. I don't have this. And I said, but your husband will be home. Just say, I need some time. So the verbally even expressing that you need time to heal, verbally expressing that I need to lie down. Hi, Cheryl. Woohoo! Welcome back, Cheryl. Nice to see you. Even verbally expressing that this is that you need something. This is not selfish. This is listening to who and what you need on a regular basis. And when you start cultivating that, that allows you to stand firm when things are going crazy on the outside. And we all live here on earth. It's not an easy place to be at some times. And we forget that we are a part of the human race, but then we have to also come back to ourselves. How can you create a home on earth when you cannot create a home, a peaceful home within yourself? You cannot. You're going to be constantly looking outside of yourself to see where you're going. Start in here. Start here. What do you think of
I
that,
love
Miss
it.
Mill?
And welcome, beautiful Cheryl. And thank you, Joyce and Andrea, for your amazing comments. And Joyce, you're really
Yeah.
reminding us of the challenges of the journey. And I love what you're saying because it's a reminder. And today we made collaborations a subtitle. I learned the hard way to learn to collaborate with Mel. The same
Mm.
way we are looking to build amazing relationships with others in our life, whether they're family members, colleagues, potential ideal future clients, other people we meet, and we're not really sure of the place or the space that we'll fill together in our lives. But
Correct.
you're saying you came in at number 15 on your list. And I love
Wow.
what you said. We need to learn to own ourselves and hold ourselves with love and compassion.
Yes.
We
Yes.
miss that opportunity to show up for ourselves. We miss that opportunity to 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 share. I think that learning to love yourself, it can really take some time because we are used to
Does.
holding others higher, whether it's spiritual sources, whether it's personal sources. Yep, Joyce, definitely
There you
collaborate with
go.
Joyce.
Wow.
That inner voice, that power. It's And I think that's one of the things that I loved in the song that Roshni helped us pick today, because one of the
Yes.
lines is, do you want to feel how it feels? And I think we forget to ask ourselves that question sometimes. We're in situations where we're concerned about emotional impacts or effects or the ripples on others. How is something going to change a workplace, a committee, um, something else? And there's another line about running up that hill with no problems. And
Yes.
I think the thing that really hit me about the running up that hill is we're all trying. And I always talk about trying to help others shorten our incline. At the same time, I look sometimes at mine and it can seem pretty steep. And the reminder that we have really good company when we are trying to run up that hill. But it's taken ages. And if I hadn't started the trust work, I'm not sure that I would have found that space to really start, as Roshni saying, to love ourselves. One of the things I think that is so hard about
Yeah.
that is when we hold space for
Yes.
others.
And it sometimes feels like you, like Mel.
Hi, beautiful. We lost you for a second. You said it sometimes feels.
Oh, sorry about that. I know it's glitching a little bit. I can hear you. It's just glitching.
Yep, you were saying it
Can you
sometimes
hear me
feels.
and see
Oh,
me now?
yes, we can definitely feel you.
Okay.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Um,
Yep.
I can
Welcome,
feel
Emma.
you and hear you. Hi, Emma. Nice to see you. Um, and so I wanted to go back and when I just wanted to go back and what Joyce said, which is, you're looking at when she made that list and the top 10 most important people on my life, and I didn't make the cut. I came in at 15. That is, it's a wake up call, especially for women, to say, you know what? The worthiness of who you are at any given moment in time is valuable. You are valued. You're worthy. And how do you find that when you have perhaps dealt with big traumas, micro traumas? You've dealt with sadness, you've dealt with loss. This is the human experience. You and I know that, Mel. We both lost our fathers last year, right? You lost yours earlier this year. I lost mine last year. You're dealing with those components. And this is a normal part of human. existence. What is not normal, in my opinion, is forgetting about yourself. That's not normal. How you're going to totally empty yourself out so that you are just a walking body. But the soul needs cultivation. The soul needs cultivation. It needs you to garden there. And it's so, so important to do that. And Andrea, let's see, Emma's question too. Thank you for your question. What tools can we use to help those things at the forefront of our actions and thinking? So I'm on the side of energy, that the tools that we choose for ourselves should bring you energy, should replenish your spirit. And when you're depleting your energy, you're not going to feel happy. And being tired is a good example. If you are eating foods that make you tired, you're not going to be as fully functional as to if you're eating foods that don't make you tired, right? And also, it applies to people. If there are people that you surround yourself that are taking your energy and you're allowing it without giving yourself the permission to use boundaries, then you are going to feel tired after you leave that group. And when you are, especially if you are an ambivert, I can be an extrovert and an introvert. I'm both. And you have to still replenish your energy when you're with big crowds of people. And coming back to yourself at the end of each day is so important. And even using mirror exercises to talk to yourself. So talk to yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm proud of you today. You look amazing. What are we going to accomplish today? Just talking to yourself. Because thank you, Andrea. And your questions are just bringing up so many beautiful points, Emma, Andrea, and Joyce. Um, the collaboration with myself, how powerful is that? If you are constantly fighting with yourself, how are you going to peace with anybody else? How are you going to find peace in the choices that you're making? You cannot, because you're just constantly battling energetically, physically. And I go through the same thing. I'm human. I was exhausted this morning because my mind was going, but then because I've cultivated a practice through meditation, through yoga, and through I use affirmations. Those are some tools that can help to lift you energetically. If you are a person who is a person of God, pray. You don't have to be a highly spiritual person to pray. It's your direct Bluetooth to godly energy. When you pray, it's a direct call to the universe. So are affirmations. If you're not a believer, you're atheist, no problem. Religion is secondary to what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is cultivating practices that lift your energy up, that help you to feel more yourself and to return back to inner child. What do you like to do? Me, I like to write. Even the stuff that comes out, it's not always positive, but I write it down and you're clear, a clean slate before going to bed.
What I absolutely love
So,
is
all of this.
we hit the wildest tech glitch. It kind of took us out for a second, but boy, it brought us back to you in that mic drop. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And I like what Andrew is saying. Each day I find myself being like a, I'm just going to go back to her comment here. Being the butterfly in the golden tropical sunshine, going from flower to flower, always giving me that balance that I need. How awesome is that metaphor, right? Bumblebees, butterflies, you go and take a little bit of what you need. It doesn't have to be big chunks, you know? And over time, once you start cultivating this practice, as butterflies do, and nature is such a great teacher. You've built, Mel, you're saying you've built this environmental awareness. We are a part of the environment. The lessons that we can take from the smallest creature to the largest tree is all the same. That the energy that something needs to survive needs to be chosen. Trees do it, butterflies do it, and humans should do it too. We are not any different. We need to choose. We need to survive. Pick the things that, pick the flowers that lift you up. Yeah, there you go, Emma. Thank you, Amber. Yes. Me.
I always call myself an introvert, and one of my dearest
I've
friends
gone
says
from introvert, then so
it's a journey, and I think that's the reminder. You're reminding us that there's something constantly in motion, and Joyce is giving us
yes.
uh, some more gems. Giving from the toes. Wow,
Wow.
that's really hitting because I've been
Yes.
uh, delighted to hang out in wonderful human design communities. And one of the things we're always talking about is our energies. I'm always looking for sources of sustainable energy. And I was in a great challenge with Nicolene Hazinga last week. And Nicolene's book is here. I'm gonna
Wow.
share it. It's the reminder. And her book
Wow.
is Aligned Energy. And it's
Yes.
we keep searching for the resources. And Joyce, you're so right about the autopilot. And the autopilot doesn't necessarily have the word me in it. And I learned recently in another challenge with some positive intelligence coaches, I was stuck with writing when a sentence starts with the word I. The voices, the stimulation, the I can write anything with we. I can write anything with we. I can write anything third party, but the minute that I say I and I say it out loud, there's something about the word, and whether it's conditioning, deconditioning, trying to dial back a little bit. But I love what Emma's reminding us to, which is to really think, just like Joyce is saying, what tools do we have? I am grateful from positive intelligence to have PQ reps and the tactile ones and the sensory ones of listening, almost scanning, are really helpful. But I'm delighted to have finally picked back up my pen. It's a gift from Pop, just like music and the love languages. And I listened to music this weekend, probably a good 7 or 8 hours. I'm learning now, put the music on in the background, like the days when I was in corporate and I had music guiding every single moment because it just wasn't a popular or healthy environment. So now the music
Mm.
is refreshing the spirit,
Yes.
bringing back wonderful warm
Yes.
memories, the reminder to pause for some
Yeah.
self care and tap into those jams that are making me get up and want to dance. And I think, like Joyce is saying, that choice to collaborate with ourselves, and it's a genuine collaboration. There doesn't necessarily need to be any artifice there.
It is.
We should be able to say anything to ourselves and to either
Yeah.
bounce back because it's part of a limiting narrative or belief or story that we don't want to continue telling ourselves. Or it's an
No.
echo of something someone else said that our judge or other saboteurs are just bringing back to kind of go whoops upside your head. But I think
Hmm.
the part about it that if we could really share it in a way to help others is everyone, just like the song title that Roshni picked, everyone is running from something or towards something at every single moment. Some of us even
Hmm.
are sitting still and you can't see that we're in motion. But I really appreciate part of my deal with God includes acknowledging that Mel now loves Mel and will make enough space to nurture her, to take care of her, to whether it's naps or 3 or 4 Mondays out of a month, starting with my green drink. And people will laugh because this
Yes.
is brunch, but to create the space to nourish our spirits, our souls, our ideas, our dreams. It's like Martin Stark said, and Martin's bouncing around the US for a little bit during Pride Month. And I was asking about torchbearers, and Martin says he's found them in America in these last 2 weeks. And I'm delighted. Someone is welcoming this
Wow.
wonderful man with tremendous courage who fights for human rights every single day, who fights the trolls, who takes them all on. And he's receiving a
Wow.
welcome that some of us who live here sometimes don't necessarily feel that we receive. What I love is we're really reminding each other we're not alone. That process of, and
Nope.
I love it because we're not alone. And as Roshni says, today wasn't about Mel asking questions. Today's about Roshni popping in to drop some more amazing gems. And if you haven't had a chance already, where can we follow you and Still Fire Healing, Roshni? Let's let our guests know where they can find you so they can continue to fall in love with you.
Thank you. I'm so humbled when you say that. Thank you so much. Um, Anyone, you can find me on Instagram at stillfirehealing888. You can find me on my website at stillfirehealing.com. And then, of course, here on LinkedIn, you can DM me anytime. And let's have a chat. If you're open to it and your soul is ready, I'm here to listen and to support.
Now, where can we find your amazing podcast?
Oh, that is on Podbean. So stillfirehealing888.podbean.com. Um, that podcast for me is a very soul aligned venture. I meet and learn from so many beautiful souls who have not only truth to say, but they're bringing their stories into the podcast. Where are they coming from and where are they going? And they've cultivated this beautiful energy around them because their businesses are a direct extension of who they are at this point in their lives. And so, really, really cool episodes coming up with animal healing and breaking inner ceiling in the corporate world for especially for women. So keep an eye out for those and support there if you can by just following me and listening in.
That is wonderful. So, the question you asked me about love, how would you answer it?
For me, why are we afraid to love ourselves is because we get attached to the darkness. We forget that we don't need to stay in the darkness. It is a teacher for you. and that you have an absolute direct choice to come out of the darkness when you're ready. No one has that control except you. And I think from personal experience for me, when you go through a dark period of time, and everyone goes through it, it is there to teach you to love yourself more so that you develop that cloak, that cape of love that your body absolutely needs during that time. Darkness is not there to suffocate you. It's not there to keep you under lock and key. Darkness is there to teach you about love. The
Mm.
darkness is there to teach you about love. One of the most important thing any adult can do. Children love themselves. We see that. Children are very easy. They love everything. They love this and they love that. It gets watered down as society gets more their hands on us. But that doesn't mean you use it as a crutch to forget about who you are. You don't need to forget about who you are. Remember who you are. The world needs that now. And staying in the darkness is going to be a part of the journey. But that's where love can poke through, and you can choose and cultivate, just like that beautiful metaphor of the butterfly picking and choosing where it needs to go. We can do that too. And it's through very simple steps. It could be as complex as a type of yoga and sitting in stillness and sitting in stillness for long periods of time. I've had close family members and friends go for retreats where there's no talking allowed. That might be your thing. That might be your thing, and that's okay. Yes, cape of love. The
A good
world
friend
is,
goes,
if we can do that for ourselves, we can. Yes. And you can do that, and only you have the thread to start sewing that cape. No one else.
mm.
Only you have the thread.
I think others sometimes have the fabric.
And it's, yes, and that's where you set boundaries and say, give it back. That's where soul retrieval comes in. Give it back to me. It's mine. Let me bring my cape back together so that I can help you again. But I want it back. And, society will tell you that it's okay. As a woman, especially, you leave fragments of yourself in different experiences. You leave fragments of yourself in different lanes. I love that metaphor of lanes. You're driving in different lanes. You know how exhausting that is? And we all do it. But then you can stop driving on that lane. You can do that. And you're allowed to. We've talked about being intuitive. We're talking about giving yourself permission. We're talking about stillness. We're talking about recognizing that you are number one in a loving way, not in a selfish way. There is a big difference, right? If there's love there, then nothing can stop that. It's the most powerful force in the universe. We know this. What do you
I
think?
appreciate what Joy said because I know I'm not in my I'm not at the top of my list of 10, but I'm grateful now to have found
I
a
know.
spot on it.
Yeah,
Grateful to have
you
found a
found a
spot
spot.
on it.
Start there. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Sometimes it's going to waver. You're not going to stay in that spot all the time, right? We have to say that too. That's not realistic. Sometimes you have to go a little bit down to remember that you have to go back up. That's why it's running up that hill. And sometimes you're falling down trying to go back up again. That's normal, right?
It is
What's not
definitely
normal
part
is
of
just
that journey.
forgetting. Right. Right. It's a part of the journey, and that doesn't make you less than or more than anyone else. It just it is what it is, and that's important to recognize that it's okay to fall down, because then you learn how to get back up. Toddlers do it. We can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You reminded me of more songs to add to the list, Roshni. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I have all type of songs because I listen to songs so much. My late dad used to listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire and Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson. So I grew up with all of those songs. So they are a regular occurrence in my house. My son gets all the songs from all eras.
Oh, I definitely
It's
enjoy that.
so
And
important. Just for
keep your songs coming because they're lighting others up.
yes,
Keep your vibes coming, your thoughts coming, and thank
thank
you
you,
everybody
and
for
you as
popping in
well.
to join us today. Whether you're joining us live or on a replay, or you're catching us later in an excerpt, uh, just when you have a chance, keep in touch with this amazing, beautiful woman. I'm so grateful for you in my world and in my life, and for the timing, and
Thank
for
you.
those of you who, Joyce, thank you so much for your timing to help us close out.
Yes,
Oh, I love that.
yes.
A balm for the psyche. And you're so right. We need to
Wow.
learn how to
Woo!
to and own the truth of our divine natures. And that is Joyce's mic drop for the day. We have to thank you all
Mic
for
drop.
joining
Psh,
us.
thank you, Joyce.
We hope
Thank you
you
so
stay
much, Mel,
safe.
for having me.
Oh, thank you, Roshni. Truly our pleasure. But thank you all for joining us. Stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, and stay in touch. And have a magnificent day filled with opportunities and possibilities. Share this with somebody you know who can use a lift. Invite them to come join us on Mondays at 2 Eastern and pop in for replays. But take great care. Be well. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Bye, love.
Take take care. Bye now.